Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Tuesday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at the forecast for the next few days, including our few sunny days coming up here, and then our next active weather coming up this weekend. So starting here with the nighttime microphysics satellite imagery, this is basically allowing us to see where the clouds are at night here. So you can see parts of eastern Oregon, eastern Washington, over toward Idaho and Montana, having some clouds. These white are low clouds, and then the red is high clouds. So you can see there's a little bit of fog in some of the river valleys up near the, I believe that's Snohomish River Valley, and then up in the Cascades there's a little bit of fog as well. But otherwise, a beautifully clear morning across western Washington, and pretty chilly as well. You can see all the areas in the blue here are frost advisories. Those are in effect for this morning, and most of these areas did get below freezing, and we'll take a look at that just a second. You can see that included most of the eastern lowlands, some of the coastal areas from Everett up toward Bellingham, the foothills from Everett all the way down toward Thurston County there, and then including the southwest interior, Olympia, the Hood Canal area, the area between the lower Chehalis Valley, and then down the I-5 corridor from Olympia to Portland. And when we look at our minimum temperatures, you can tell why that frost advisory was issued, as most of the areas in the frost advisory did get below freezing. You can see 28 in Olympia, 28 in Shelton, 30 at JBLM, 41 in Federal Way, so a little bit warmer near the water, 41 in Seattle as well, but still pretty chilly. Definitely our chilliest morning of the year so far. 35 even up at Whidbey Naval Air Station, 39 at Payne Field, 39 in Bellingham, a little bit to the south of Bellingham there below freezing. And then take a look at some of the Cascade foothills near freezing in North Bend, and then down in Graham and South Hill as well. And if we go a little bit further south there from Olympia, you can see 30s, low 30s there along I-5, and then warming up a little bit as you get down toward Portland with some of those. There's likely still a little bit of an easterly wind component there, warming it up just a tad in Portland, 44 down there. But overall, definitely feels like fall. First chilly morning of the year. Even at my place in Federal Way, we got down to 37 degrees, and there's just a little bit of frost and some pretty elevated surfaces. So if you were out here, you definitely got your first frost of the season, but not our first widespread frost just yet. Taking a look here, Blewett Pass, you can see this was snowing. There's a lot of snow there yesterday. It was actually closed for a while, ironically just a week after being closed for a wildfire. And you can see there, there's a decent amount of snow on the ground at Blewett Pass, and still some nice fall color there as well. And just to the south of Blewett Pass or to the north, is the Labor Mountain Fire burn scar. And that fire is still burning, but at a very much reduced rate there. So you can see what it's like at Blewett Pass this morning, and then take a look at Paradise Sunrise starting here. And you can see that here at Paradise there's snow on most everything there, especially looking really nice on some of the peaks there near Paradise, and overall it's pretty chilly up there too, with the snow still on the ground very, very clearly, even on some of the pavement and stuff like that. So it's been a pretty chilly few days, especially up in the mountains where we've been able to get that snow. Taking a look at the overall pattern, that system that caused all that snow and the cold and the chilly winds yesterday is moving to the south, bringing some very dynamic weather off the California coast, including thunderstorms even as far down as the Los Angeles area, and then a lot of rain in San Francisco as well. That system moves in and continues impacting California over the next couple days. We have a ridge moving through the area that keeps us warm and sunny, warm relatively speaking, and sunny. Highs in the upper 50s, low 60s. And then you can see as we go into Thursday and Friday, we have this trough to our north that slides south into the interior of the United States. That brings us a few showers as we go into Thursday, Friday, and then we dry out a little bit Friday afternoon into Saturday morning, and then by midday to early afternoon Saturday, our next system is moving in. That's going to bring a decent round of rain and a little bit of mountain snow, and maybe some breezy conditions as well, but that's a little bit more uncertain. And then you can see that system starts to move out as we go through Sunday, and then we may have another ridge behind it. I'm taking a look at the precipitation forecast. You can see we're dry today, we're dry tomorrow. Beautiful first game of the ALCS in Seattle on Wednesday, and then another probably nice one on Thursday, but we may have some showers around the area. And then Friday, you can see we do have some showers with that trough moving off to our east, bringing some convergence zone showers potentially over parts of the Puget Sound area. So maybe the roof closed there for that, if necessary, Game 5 there in Seattle on Friday. And then you can see by the time we get to Saturday morning, some of that rain is approaching the coast, and then as we go into Saturday afternoon, rain spreads across the entirety of western Washington, heavy at times as we go into Sunday. You can see those showers after that front continue all the way through the day Sunday into early Monday morning. And how much rain will that bring? You can see, like, in bringing 1 to 2 inches on the coast, 1.5 to 2.5 inches in the Cascades. So some of this will be snow. And then in the lowlands, you're looking at from Everett northward about 0.5 inch to 1.5 inches. Bellingham going to get a nice round of rain. A little bit of a rain shadow there off the Olympic Peninsula as usual, but not as pronounced because of some of the angle of this system. And then you can see the Seattle area getting about 0.5 inch. And from Seattle southward, from like Tacoma down toward Olympia and then down toward Portland, looking at 0.75 inch to 1 inch. So a decent round of rain coming up at the end of this week, and dumping some more on the fires as well, even though they are already mostly out with some of the snow that fell over the last few days. And taking a look at snow, this system's a little bit warmer, so you're not going to have the widespread mountain snow that we had this past system. You can see Stevens Pass barely getting anything there, nothing at Snoqualmie Pass, and then maybe a trace there to an inch or so at Chinook Pass, some of the higher elevations. Mount Baker, Paradise getting a little bit of snow, but overall this is really going to be relegated to some of those higher elevations in the North Cascades and the volcanic peaks, of course, but it'll still be good to get some of this snow onto some of the areas that really have not had much of any since late winter. So yeah, this will be nice to see. I'm taking a look at temperatures. We'll be able to kind of see how that system moves in here. So you can see today, even though it's sunny, not super warm, highs in the upper 50s to low 60s from Seattle southward. That's where it's going to feel warmest with that ridge. And then Seattle northward, mid to upper 50s. Going into Wednesday, we warm up a little bit, highs in the upper 50s to mid 60s across western Washington, warmest from Seattle west and south. Going into Thursday, we have some of those showers coming in. Highs drop down to the mid to upper 50s. And then Friday, you can see we warm up a little bit, upper 50s to low 60s, some mid 50s, Seattle northward. And then going into Saturday, that system starts to move in. You can see highs drop to the low to mid 50s across western Washington. Outside the system, where we have some southerly wind, there's highs across Oregon in the upper 60s to low 70s, but western Washington really going to be under that system, so you're not going to have those warm temperatures. And then going into Sunday, you can see post-frontal showers, all that. We stay in the low to mid 50s across western Washington. So definitely some more fall-like weather. This is the European model's prediction for temperatures this morning. Did pretty good. It was a little bit warm in terms of what we did end up seeing in some of the foothills. But going into Wednesday morning, you can see this will likely be our chilliest morning. Wednesday morning will, with lows all the way down into Seattle in the upper 30s. And so some more frost possible across the region, especially those outlying areas, especially like the foothills and stuff like that could get down toward freezing again. Going into Thursday morning, you can see again low to mid 40s, some upper 30s out there as well. And then going into Friday morning there, you can see with some of the clouds and stuff moving through, we don't cool down as much. Lows in the mid 40s to low 50s. And then Saturday morning there, you can see again mid to upper 40s. And Sunday morning, lots of clouds moving through, so mid to upper 40s again. But overall, pretty standard for this time of year. I'm taking a look at air quality again because we've been looking at this obviously for quite a while. You can see we're doing good in western Washington, most of eastern Washington doing good. However, Wenatchee's still having some problems because although there was snow, although the fire activity has been brought down a lot, there is still a little bit of smoke leaking off the Labor Mountain fire and the Wildcat fire there. You can see this singular elevated air quality there by the Wildcat fire, and then you can see Wenatchee again in the unhealthy for sensitive groups category. But hopefully this is really on its way out, and it should be. But this overall is much better than it has been even over the past few days. If we zoom into Wenatchee in that area, you can see still having some unhealthy air quality in there, but it's coming just off the Labor Mountain fire now as the Lower Sugarloaf fire is out. So it's just interesting to see how that has continued to play out. It's been a rough go for Wenatchee here over the last month or so. So hopefully that'll start to improve soon. Taking a look at the extended forecast here, you can see this is the European model ensemble for SeaTac Airport. And you see we have really good agreement on a dry couple days here, then a little bit of rain coming Thursday, Friday, then a lot more rain coming into the weekend. And then you can see as we go off over the next couple weeks toward the end of October, a lot of forecasts show a lot more rain. And that is really as we start to pick up, get more active. This is typically getting into an active time of year, and you can see there is some decent agreement for that. And then looking at the snow forecast for Mount Baker ski area, one of the snowiest places in Washington, of course, and you can see there is decent agreement for, by the time we get to the end of the month, at least a couple feet of snow up there. So we're definitely transitioning into fall, and you can see that in the temperature outlooks here. This is the 6 to 10 day outlook for October 19th to 23rd, so that is end of this week, early next week, there you can see below average temperatures likely across the entirety of the western United States, including western Washington, and then see that above average precipitation for most of the country, but that biggest signal showing up across parts of the west, including parts of western Washington. So definitely fall pattern coming up. So then if you want some nice mugs, bottles, even a tumbler, go and check out the Western Washington Weather merch store. Got a lot of other cool stuff on there as well. Link to that is in the description below. And then be sure to subscribe to Western Washington Weather, and then follow me on the Western Washington Weather Facebook group and on my Twitter and Blue Sky accounts. So thank you all very much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.